Hello everybody, this is GeneralJannis, and today in Chaos Tactics, looking at the Zone Nephilim, the incoming chapter approved, and especially where is my starting command points greatly reduced in the preview that Warhammer community showed. So analyzing a little bit the changes, looking at the Chaos functions. So let's get started. So today, the 17th of June, I've been a bit out traveling with busy with work, but I had a chance to get my first outing for my Chaos Knights models. I included 2 War Dogs for my Thousand Sun army versus Alpha Legion, and of course the new model Syndrome struck, and my War Dog, the painted one, was eliminated turn 1, and the second one was eliminated turn 2, and he managed only to kill one Chaos Cultist with his Slaughter Claw with D3+3 damage. So not a very good first check for the Chaos Allies. Otherwise, the game went well for the Thousand Suns. So today I'm looking at the Warzone Nephilim, the chapter approved, and looking at the starting command point reduction and what impact I can think for the chaos, and then looking also they said something about secondary changes. So before I start, as always, a big thanks to my patrons and all of you supporting my YouTube channel. So let's get started. So the big changes for the new the new upcoming Warzone, the Nephilim, then we will have 6 command points as the starting pool for the 2000 points battle. You will be earning more every turn, so in your command phase you will be gaining 1 command point if you're Battleforged as today, but now you are also gaining 1 command point in your opponent's command phase. But now, additionally, from the very strong reduction of points, before we had 12, now we have 6 CP to define our lists. Also, the first Warlord trait and the first relic that we take will be costing something, will cost 1 command point each. So basically, to add a normal, let's say, Warlord, where you would typically have a free trait and a relic, now we will be using 2 command points for that, only allowing us 4 command points to add more stuff. It says that these stratagems can only be used once, but I think it must still be available to use the strats from our codices to add more relics and traits, paying command points, of course, and with only 6 command points to start, and already maybe being 4 command points down, it will be a bit tricky to add a lot of relics and traits and make a lot of combos. For named characters, I would assume that you still have to pay the command point to give them the trait that they can have, and or the multiple traits that they have, like Mortarion and Magnus. Probably you would pay 1 command point, and then Mortarion gets all his 4 Warlord traits, and Magnus gets his 3 Warlord traits. I would still assume you just need to use this stratagem once. Maybe it will be clarified in the rules. So what are the impacts of my first thoughts of the impacts from this starting command point update? So everything that costs command points to bring, like the Contemptors, which was a crutch for us in the meta, that will be extremely difficult if the rules aren't changed for these Contemptors. But I mean, adding 2 Contemptors for 2 command points when you only have 6, and you probably use a couple of relics, that will be very tough to bring. Also, if the detachments stay as today, bringing specialist detachments like the Vanguard or Outrider to fill with fast demon engines for Death Guard, for example, that will also be very challenging if it costs 3 command points, unless, again, the rules change, but I don't know. But otherwise, you are more and more forced to bring something like patrols and battalions where you can start with no CP penalty, but it will be really costly to go from 6 down to 3, and then you use maybe 2 for relics, and then you start with basically no command points in the game. Also, the big updates now with the Chaos Knights, that we could bring a super heavy auxiliary detachment with 1 Dreadblade unit for 3 command points. You could maybe do that for fun when you had 12. Now it's really difficult when you have only 6 command points. Adding that for 3 command points would be really difficult. They said that, however, you can take super heavy auxiliary detachment at no command point cost if it matches the Warlord's faction. But that I don't think that matches if you have a Death Guard Warlord and then you need to add a Chaos Knight. If you have a Chaos Knight detachment, then you can bring a super heavy auxiliary detachment with a couple of Dreadblade or a little bit more, with no command point penalty for the second detachment. But I don't think that will be working for allies. So Games Workshop's trying to give us the opportunity to buy a lot of knights, and then it will be probably difficult for us to make them allies for our Death Guard and Thousand Sons. So probably I can't say for now what I think if this will be a bigger benefit, or let's say a bigger loss for Death Guard or Thousand Sons compared to some other factions. Probably it will mean less Alpha Strike because the opponent will be starting also with less command points, and they can't use that against you with a lot of command point combos. But also, I think the impact is worse for Death Guard here. It makes Taliban more important to bring you more command points in the game. I kind of like the idea that you also get some command points in your opponent's phase, because I typically run out quite fast of command points, and then I have some command points to use maybe defensively in the opponent's. But I think the defensive command point stretch for Death Guard are not so many, and they cost a lot. I mean, the Cloud of Flies for 2-4 command points, that's crazy. But maybe for the Mephitic Blightholder to get half the amount of shots for one command point, that can be quite useful. Additionally, Death Guard has many vital relics, traits, and contagions. Our special abilities are basically traits that we need to pay command points to bring. Like the Tollkeeper relic is really strong. The Stensvat for the Foul Blightspawn, the Gloaming Bloat of Mortarian's Anvil, really strong. The Plague Skull of Glothila could be added to any of our list and make our Blight Lords stronger. And basically, our upgrade for points are our pathogens. They are not as strong as the command abilities for points that the enemy armies typically have. For Thousand Sons, as we said, the Legion commands are not depending on command points. For example, the Dilettant allowing you to take a second trait for free. That's probably even more important now with lower starting command points. The Thousand Sons have some good defensive strats for one command point to reduce incoming damage for a unit of rubrics, or if they are less than 5 models, for example, then you have to spend one command point, and this could be quite useful for the typical Thousand Sons army. And I guess all in all, there are some good relics and traits for Thousand Sons, but they are less dependent on them. I think maybe the Umbralefic Crystal is important. The Athenian Scroll is a nice bonus damage. There are some good traits here and there, but it's not as maybe crucial for the army. The Thousand Sons with the psychic powers and the Legion commands, I think, can better cope with not using so many traits and relics. So let's say for the updated, let's say, impacts, probably have to be using more and more the battalion detachment, and then you basically pay 0 command points when you have your warlord in there. Let's say if we take some of our warlord and we give him the Gloaming Bloat, maybe the Warp Insect Hive for a Demon Prince, we're already paying 2 command points as Death Guard. Then maybe a Foul Blightspawn with the Revolting Stenchvats for 1 more command point. We are starting only on 3, and then we have to gain more during the game. Of course, if we bring Taliban, he can be adding us up to 3 per turn, so that's quite neat in the game. For Thousand Sons, maybe we can make an Exalted Sorcerer and take the Athenian Scroll. This costs 1 command point, and then we make him, let's say, a Rehati to cast more spells. And then we don't maybe need a trait here. Somebody can bring the Umbralefic Crystal. You can take the big Sword of Terminators that heal. That's also for points, and you can start with 4 command points or something like this. So for the secondaries, it was also mentioned that there will be a rebalancing of all the faction-specific secondaries and be included in the book. That's quite nice, and also for factions that don't have their codex out yet. And let's see what this will bring. Hopefully, the Death Guard, especially the Death Guard secondaries, can get some buffs. Let's see what that can bring us. And how about the Grey Knights Purifying Ritual? That's really strong. I hope they balance the secondaries a bit out. And then they mentioned something that perplexed me quite a bit, the generic starting secondary. So they said everybody will have 3 starting secondaries: the assassination to kill characters, grind them down to kill more than your own, and behind enemy lines. Behind enemy lines is very difficult for Death Guard, maybe deep striking Terminators. The Thousand Suns with duplicity, they can teleport around. Grind them down is quite good for Death Guard for some matchups, but it seems to me really strange that you need to have a generic starting secondaries. Maybe they have these generic starting secondaries to help new players, just to have 3 and not think so much about it. But they said in the text that you could swap the secondary out before deployment. I'm really worried if this will cost something. Will it cost you some command points to change your secondaries? If it's a free swap, do whatever you want, then why have a generic starting secondary? So I'm really confused about this one, guys. I don't know what you think. And then they said also that it is possible not only to have one faction-specific secondary, but you could basically have all 3 faction-specific secondaries. This, of course, would require them, or it would be nice if the faction-specific secondaries become stronger, at least for Death Guard, and also for Thousand Suns, maybe 1 or 2 are quite good as they stand today. So, reaching to the summary and final thoughts: lower starting command points going forward, more cost to bring the first warlord trait and relic. So this means that we need to be more and more careful in selecting our list, the starting traits and relics. We can't build huge combos with a lot of traits and relics anymore. Less variation probably for the detachments, less, let's say, tricks we can do with multiple detachments, because everything starting you have only 6 and you can't I mean, typically for my Death Guard list I always started with 7 command points, so that meant I always was using 5 or more. So this will, of course, with the current status, I would be starting with 1, or that would have been a bit tricky. Less Alpha Strike combos, a bit more command points at the end of the game probably will make it a bit more fun, making the Taliban more important, etc. But I'm really looking forward now to the point updates that will be coming, and they're free to download. So I'm really waiting for that with my computer ready to do the updated calculations. And please, I hope Games Workshops doesn't mess this one up like it did for Death Guard. The previous one was a terrible mess, I think. So hopefully, let's see if that can throw us a little bone. With these words, basically this concludes the video. Let me know what you think in the comments and your ideas. If you want to support my channel further, please visit my Patreon page. As always, great thanks to my patrons and my supporters. And with these words, GeneralJannis signing out. Stay safe out there, and bye-bye.